Number 5. Maserati MC20. Let's start with the Maserati MC20 because this car represents something most people miss. Maserati spent the 2010s badge engineering Chrysler spreading to the main chamber. This lets them run higher compression ratios without knock, which means more power from a smaller displacement. Ferrari owns Maserati, so they could have just used a detuned Ferrari V. Understand how badge engineering nearly killed this brand. On track, the MC20 ran Mugello in 142 adjustments. That's positioned directly against the Porsche 911 Turbo S, which is interesting because the MC20 is demonstrably faster in a straight line, but gives up some of that Porsche refinement and all-weather capability. Different philosophies. The Porsche is the car you drive every day. The MC20 is the car you drive when you actually want to feel something. Number 4. Lamborghini Huracán STO. Number 4 is the Lamborghini Huracán STO, and if you know what STO stands for, you already know why this car is on the list. Super Trophy Homologado. It's a homologation special based on Lamborghini's one-make race series, which means this is a race car with license plates, not a street car with a wing. The STO uses the same 5.2-liter naturally aspirated V10 as the standard Huracan, making 631 horsepower, but Lamborghini pulled out 95 pounds compared to the Performant through aggressive weight reduction. The rear window is polycarbonate, the hood and fenders are carbon fiber, even the door handles are titanium. They deleted the sound insulation, the electronic driver aids got stripped down, and the entire HVAC system is lighter. What you get is a car that weighs 2,951 pounds. That's 300 pounds less than a base Huracan. The power-to-weight ratio works out to 4.67 pounds per horsepower, which puts it in legitimate hypercar territory. The aerodynamics are lifted straight from the Super Trophy Evo race car. That massive fixed rear wing generates 926 pounds of downforce at 174 miles per hour. The front splitter and underbody tunnels add another load. Total downforce is reportedly 53% more than the Performant, which was already a serious track weapon. Lamborghini developed something called LDVI 2.0 for this car. That's Lamborghini Dinamica Veicolo Integrata, which is just Italian for the computer makes you faster. It's a predictive logic system that adjusts the rear-wheel steering, torque vectoring, and traction control based on what you're about to do, not what you're currently doing. The system monitors steering angle, brake pressure, and throttle position, then pre-configures the car for the next phase of the corner. On track, the STO ran a 131.62 at Estoril, which is almost 4 seconds faster than the Huracan Evo. At Donington Park, it went 127.90. For reference, that's quicker than cars costing twice as much. The real party trick is the 3-mode rear wing. In position 1, it's optimized for high-speed stability. Position 2 is maximum downforce for technical sections. Position 3 is air brake mode, where the wing tilts to 60 degrees and acts as a massive speed brake. You can actually feel the car pitch forward under deceleration when you activate it. Price is around $237,000 now after inflation adjustments. And here's the thing, Lamborghini only built these for 2 model years. Production stopped in 2023 when the Huracan ended. Used examples are already trading above MSRP because people figured out this is the last naturally aspirated V10 Lamborghini will probably ever make. The replacement is the Temerario, which is a twin-turbo V8 hybrid, different character entirely. Number 3. This one is going to be controversial, but hear me out. Number 3 is the Alfa Romeo 4C, and I can already hear the comments. It's not a supercar, it's barely 240 horsepower, my Camry is faster. And you're right, the 4C makes 237 horsepower from a turbocharged 1.75-liter inline-4. 0 to 60 takes 4.1 seconds. Top speed is 160 miles per hour. On paper, it's slower than a modern Civic Type R. But here's what the spec sheet doesn't tell you. The 4C weighs 2,465 pounds. That's less than a Mazda Miata. The entire chassis is a carbon fiber monocoque, the same construction method Ferrari uses on the SF90. Alfa Romeo was selling a carbon monocoque chassis car for $56,000 when it launched in 2014. Ferrari wanted $200,000 minimum for the same technology. They built it anyway because Sergio Marchionne wanted a halo car to prove Alfa Romeo could
still do proper engineering. Total production was only 6,013 units worldwide before they discontinued it in 2020. Used prices have been climbing steadily. Clean examples are selling for more now than they cost new because people finally figured out what this car actually is. It's the last truly analog mid-engine sports car from a major manufacturer. Everything that came after has electronic steering, adaptive damping, and driver aids you can't fully disable. The 4C proves you don't need 700 horsepower to build something special. You just need to care about the right things: weight, chassis rigidity, steering feel, and suspension geometry. Alfa got all of that perfect, then wrapped it in a design that still looks modern 10 years later.
Number 2. Ferrari 458 Speciale. And this is where we need to talk about what Ferrari was actually doing in the early 2010s. The base 458 Italia was already considered one of the best-handling mid-engine cars ever made. The Speciale took that foundation and turned it into something that still makes modern hypercars look soft. The engine is a 4.5-liter naturally aspirated V8, producing 597 horsepower at 9,000 RPM, but the red line is 9,250, and Ferrari actually encourages you to bang off the limiter because the engine was designed for endurance racing duty. This is the same basic architecture that powered the 458 GTE to 3 Le Mans class victories. The rotating assembly was built to handle sustained high RPM use. What makes the Speciale different from the base 458 is active aerodynamics. Ferrari developed something called SSC, which is side slip control. It's an evolution of their F1 track system that allows controlled drifts while still maintaining stability. The system monitors slip angle 50 times per second and adjusts brake force to individual wheels to rotate the car through corners while keeping it stable. The active aero includes movable flaps in the front splitter that open and close based on speed and cornering load. At high speed, they close to reduce drag. Under heavy braking, they open to increase front downforce and reduce brake distances. Total downforce increased 50% over the base 458 with a more favorable front-to-rear distribution. Ferrari also shaved 198 pounds out of the car through obsessive weight reduction. The seats are carbon fiber shells, the carpets are thinner, the exhaust is in-canal instead of stainless steel. Even the wheel fasteners are titanium. The final weight is 2,844 pounds. On track, the 458 Speciale ran Fiorano in 1:23.5, which was 2 seconds faster than the base 458 and only 3/10 behind the LaFerrari, which literally cost 5 times as much and had 357 more horsepower. That lap time stood as the fastest for a non-hybrid Ferrari until the 488 Pista came out in 2018. The transmission is a 7-seat dual clutch that shifts in 60 milliseconds. That's faster than you can blink. Downshifts include automatic throttle blips that are perfectly matched to engine speed. The calibration is so good that you can go full throttle, brake hard, downshift 3 gears, and turn in without upsetting the chassis. The computer is doing all the rev matching seamlessly. Here's what Ferrari doesn't advertise. The Speciale uses a different engine mapping strategy than any previous V8. Instead of optimizing for peak power, they optimized for throttle response. The engine control unit monitors throttle position at 1,000 Hz and adjusts ignition timing and valve timing in real time to eliminate any lag between input and response. The result is an engine that feels like it's wired directly to your right foot. Production was limited to 2,800 units, and current market value is $250,000 to $550,000, depending on miles and spec. That's double the original $300,000 MSRP. The Speciale has appreciated consistently because it represents the end of an era. It's the last naturally aspirated non-hybrid V8 Ferrari will make. Everything after this is turbocharged or electrified. The 458 Speciale is also the last Ferrari where the driving experience wasn't managed by layers of electronic intervention.
Yes, it has traction control and stability control, but you can turn them off completely, full off. And when you do, the car will absolutely bite you if you're not paying attention. It demands respect and skill, which is increasingly rare in modern supercars. Number 1. Pagani Huayra R. Number 1 is the Pagani Huayra R, and this is the car that proves Horacio Pagani still doesn't care what anyone thinks is reasonable. The Huayra R is a track-only special that Pagani built in limited numbers, only 30 units, each costing $3.1 million. And before you ask, yes, they sold out immediately. The engine is a naturally aspirated 6.0-liter V12 built by Mercedes-AMG specifically for this car. It produces 850 horsepower at 8,250 RPM and redlines at 9,000 RPM. Let that sink in. A naturally aspirated V12 revving to 9,000 RPM in 2024. That's race car territory. The engine uses slide throttle bodies, titanium connecting rods, and a crankshaft designed for F1 level rotational speeds. The transmission is a 6-seat sequential developed by X-Track, the same company that builds gearboxes for Formula One and Le Mans prototypes. Shift time is 20 milliseconds. The entire gearbox weighs 176 pounds, despite handling over 560 foot-pounds of torque. The chassis is a carbon titanium monocoque that weighs just 188 pounds. Total vehicle weight is 2,314 pounds without fuel. That's a power-to-weight ratio of 2.72 pounds per horsepower, which is better than a Formula 2 car. Pagani developed a completely new active aero system for the R. There are 4 independently controlled flaps, 2 in the front splitter and 2 integrated into the rear wing. The system adjusts downforce balance dynamically based on speed, brake pressure, and steering angle. Maximum downforce is 2,204 pounds at 199 miles per hour, which is more than the car weighs. The suspension is pushrod double wishbones front and rear, the same layout used in Formula One. Dampers are adjustable for compression and rebound with 18 settings each. Ride height is adjustable from 1.97 inches to 4.33 inches to accommodate different track surfaces. Braking is handled by Brembo carbon ceramic rotors that measure 15.7 inches front and 14.2 inches rear, clamped by 6 piston calipers front and 4 pistons rear. Pagani claims 60 to 0 miles per hour braking in 98 feet, which is in the same range as a MotoGP bike. Here's what makes the Huayra R actually special, though. It's not legal for any racing series. It doesn't conform to GT3 regulations, it's too powerful for GT4, and it's not eligible for prototype classes because it's based on a road car. Pagani built a car too extreme for motorsport regulations, which means the only place you can drive it is private track days. And people are doing exactly that. Owners are taking these to circuits like Spa, Monza, and Laguna Seca and running them in anger. There's footage of Huayra Rs running full race pace at private events, and the performance is genuinely shocking. The sound alone is worth the price of admission. A naturally aspirated V12 at 9,000 RPM doesn't sound like anything else currently in production. Pagani also includes a full data acquisition system with the car, GPS-based track mapping, predictive lap timing, and telemetry that records over 200 channels of data. You get damper position, brake pressure, steering angle, throttle position, lateral G-force, everything. It's the same level of data a factory race team would use.